Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today, we are going to take a fully spoilery look at Kaiju number 8, chapter 75. This chapter was all about setting things up and reminding us of the situations of the major players. Despite being an action combat chapter, it is a real masterclass in making every scene do three things. So now, we are going to get into the spoilers. If you don't want to hear any, you can click away and check out the links below the video to get yourself a copy of my book, Humans Are Weird. I have the data available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo by Rakuten, Powell's, pretty much anywhere books are sold. Now, into spoilers. Rail guns! We get even more rail guns. Well, one giant, super-powered rail gun to be exact. Powered by the super Mina Shiro. Have you ever heard the old Johnny Horton song, Sink the Bismarck? It's a song about one of the most famous naval hunts in history. The entire British Navy tracking down the Bismarck, the largest, fastest, most powerful battleship of the day. In order to give the audience a feel for the mighty power of this battleship, Horton sings out, "The Hood found the Bismarck, and on that fatal day, the Bismarck started firing from 15 miles away." At the time, there wasn't a ship on the Atlantic, probably not in the world, that could match the Bismarck for the distance it was able to cover with its guns. Well, Mina doesn't quite equal the firing power of the Bismarck in this scene. Her shots are only a hair over 12 miles. There is every evidence that she could blast Kaiju out of the water at 15 miles with her giant railgun. But not content to just give the defense force a pass with Mina's everything in that general direction gun, Matsumoto supplies us with two strong reminders of its limitations. Yeah, she points and fires and says goodbye to everything in that general direction, but we get one image of the gun itself trembling and smoking despite its sheer size, as a voice in the background states, "Cannon body erosion, stage 1. Every single shot is so powerful that it erodes away at the barrel of this cannon of a railgun. This is true to life. With conventional cannons, the physical and chemical blast of the gunpowder would eat away at every exposed surface of the weapon, and that's just the weapon itself. But anyway, assuming that the erosion of the cannon body is equal in its measure to how much greater this cannon is in power to conventional cannons. And again, that's just the weapon itself. Look at that last panel of Mina. Despite the fact that from context we know she is sitting crouched like she was on a motorcycle, the angle makes it so that she appears to be lying on her back with her hair falling over her shoulders. That image is the traditional posture that manga puts the dearly departed in, the dead, the dying. Everything about that last panel suggests that she is straining with every shot, and even those first two shots took everything from Mina. This weapon is costing her. And the metabolic toll aside, Mina and her giant class killer gun is a giant class target for Kaiju number 9. Even without Director General Shinamaya's tactical skill, number 9 would know that he had to take out his own Bismarck. A gun that can strike from 15 miles away is nothing to sneeze at. So far, all the other high-value targets have always been highly mobile, causing massive problems for Kaiju number 9. Reno and Numbers Open 6, Kafka and Kaiju number 8, Hoshina and Numbers Open 10, they can all move. They all have to move to do their job. But the biggest weak point in any railgun in real life is the power source. They are just not mobile in any real sense of the word. I highly doubt that monstrosity can even swivel easily. That is what we call a target. And I don't think it'll be lasting that long. Anyhow, I'm done geeking out over the railgun. For now. The main point of this chapter can be summed up in the adage, "Those who wait also serve." That adage is a concept from around the same time as the Bismarck, actually. Wars are not won with everybody on the field at the same time. You don't take your entire tribe, go out, take out the enemy. In modern warfare, resources must be used with wisdom and tactics. For every one soldier in the field, there are dozens working farms to feed the soldiers, maintaining roads, fixing broken weapons. Then there are other soldiers in reserve, those simply waiting in the wings until their time has come. The real-life example is the Royal Air Force squads that defended Great Britain during the Blitz. These airmen would sit around reading magazines and smoking while the infantry was out in the field. That is, until their alarms went off and they strapped themselves into planes made out of wood and canvas and flew up to face odds of 3-1. But in this chapter, we get no less than 3 references to the controllers, those Defense Force members who work behind the scenes to keep the super weapons of the Kaiju suits running. They aren't out there on the battlefield, but Okanogi and her cohort are absolutely vital to the fight. Do you remember how important the Screamy Scientist guy was to Director General Shinamaya? Well, first we start this chapter from Okanagi's perspective as she watches Vice Captain Hoshina verbally wrestling with Kaiju number 10. Then she specifically references the controllers for the 1st Division as their own group, separate from her and her team. Then, at the end of the chapter, Mina calls out to her particular controller by name. For some reason, Matsumoto wants the presence of these controllers fresh in our minds from the beginning to the end of the chapter. Again, that's 3 times Matsumoto has brought this to our attention. Then the perspective shifts to Kafka, and we check in with our best boy. This is something we were all looking forward to. We were all wondering where he is. Well, he is up to his knees in Kaiju guts, helping with the rear guard action. Then, half a dozen super giant Kaiju lumber out of the bay, and Kafka sees them. And of course requests to be sent to the front line. He outright states that he's never fought Kaiju that big, but hey, he'll make it work. He is politely but firmly shut down by platoon leader Shinomi, or as we know her, Gatling Gun Lady. Kaiju number 8 is their trump card, and she won't waste him on these Kaiju. They need Kaiju number 8 for when Kaiju number 9 shows himself. As they saw before, Kaiju number 8's degeneration power is the only thing that can stop Kaiju number 9's regeneration power. Now, interestingly enough, the scene we see Kafka in is a clear visual callback to the scene way back in chapter, I think it was 18 or possibly 17, but the one where Kafka pulls the core out of the little fungal Kaiju corpse and relays the location of the core to Hoshina, while also warning Hoshina about the reproductive organs. This is exactly what Kafka wants to be doing, or rather, it's what he said he wanted to be doing. Being useful to the Defense Force for his own skills, not for Kaiju number 8's. Kafka's making sure those Kaiju are good and dead, looking through their organs for any dangerous secrets. This is Kafka's actual superpower, using his brain and his eyes and his experience to support the Defense Force, to support Mina. He is doing in this moment what he said he wanted to do, but true to human nature, now that he has what he wanted, he is itching for something else. Meanwhile, while Kafka is having to be told to wait, Mina was waiting this entire time, it turns out. Like those old RAF pirates of old, she was back at base beside her weapon, just waiting for a target worthy of her power. Then she smites the giant Kaiju with her giant railgun. And I will end on that note. I like railguns, okay? But what do you think? Leave a comment below telling me if you think that the railgun is killing Mina by inches or if I'm missing out on something. Go check out my book in the links below the videos. Humans Are Weird. Let's work it out. Hit that like and subscribe button and peace out, my wonderful viewers.